Hi, everybody, and welcome to the GameWisp weekly podcast. If you're watching this online, things may look a little different, a little more public accessy.
That's true.
And that's because we felt the need to have a very special episode this week. This is the GameWisp Gaming Video 2014 Year in Review. And I'm your host, Eli Hooten. And with me, as always, our fearless leader, our corporate executor overlord, Michael D. Anderson.
What's up, everybody?
And so today we're going to talk about the year 2014 in a wrap-up style and talk about why it was great for gaming video, why it was bad for gaming video, and why, based on what we saw in 2014, that we predict will happen in 2015. And we'll also talk about what GameWisp did in 2014 and where it's going. So let's talk, Mr. Anderson.
That sounds great. I love to talk. You know that about me.
Let's do it.
And I'll try a gesture as well, because that's a big piece.
Yeah.
It's important for a podcast, you know?
Right.
Gestures. So yeah, this year, it's been a big, well, not this year, but last year, 2014.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Yeah, we're a little late on our yearly recaps here. We put a lot of thought into it.
That's right. We're spending a lot of time thinking. And what we've thought about is how do we run down what happened in 2014 for gaming video? And I think a great place to start is just what theme do you think encompassed what the year was about?
If we could extract a major theme from 2014, I would say that gaming video went through an enormous level up.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
It's very
we were right. I want to put it in gamer terms. That's where we are. I mean, it's in the name of the company. We got to do this right. So gamer terms, we leveled up. That's what we did. Everybody, congrats. You have 10 more skill points.
That's
now
right.
Why do I say we leveled up? Because a lot of important things happened in gaming video this year. One of the most important was the bullet train meteoric trajectory that gaming video took toward legitimacy.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah. I think that would be my word for this year, would be legitimacy.
Yeah.
And not in the eyes of the people that have been watching it
forever. It's been legitimate for years. Right. It's just nobody noticed.
Right,
yeah.
But legitimacy in the outside world, I don't know if that's right, but like in media and in specifically old media and in the news and in popular culture, really,
just in the psyche of people in general, right? Like, this is a thing that happens now, right?
Yeah.
It's been happening for years and years, but now I know it happens because the New York Times told me or whatever.
That's exactly right.
For sure. So we can put some numbers around this rise to legitimacy, right? And one of the most interesting things I think that happened in 2014 was that in May, TubeFilter finally started tracking gaming video as its own separate category.
Yeah, and TubeFilter is just a service that takes online video and really puts numbers around it, like how many people are watching, what kind of content, all this kind of stuff. And it's interesting that they, as they started tracking gaming video, it was interesting for us to take a look at how's this going to grow.
Sure.
How has it grown? And it's been pretty spectacular. In the month of May, when they started tracking it, they started reporting numbers on the top 100 gaming video channels.
Right.
So, and out of those 100 channels, over 3 billion with a B.
It's crazy.
Videos were watched across hundreds of millions of people that watch this stuff, and the number specifically 3.4 billion. So you have hundreds and hundreds of millions of videos being watched by lots and lots of people. And that's staggering, but I think even more staggering is that, like you mentioned, the growth between then and now.
Yeah, right, for sure. And I mean, TubeFilter was reporting that gaming video was on a very steady trajectory of growth all throughout the last half of the year, right? Because we saw a 1.1 billion view increase.
Another B.
32% increase in views over 6 months. That's per month views, right? So we went from 3.4 billion in May, 4.5 billion, just climbing and climbing. It's crazy.
Yeah. So in November was the last numbers that they've reported at this point, but it's incredible. I mean, and that's just, you put that in perspective. That's the number of views for the top 100 channels on YouTube.
Right.
And there's hundreds of thousands of gaming channels that we know of. And so you're really just scratching the surface. Even if you do something like the 80-20 rule, you're still looking at over 6 or 7 billion videos across all the gaming channels that are watched in just 1 month.
Yeah,
so it's really
crazy.
staggering. Yeah,
and so you can attribute a lot to this growth. Like, wow, where did this come from, right? Because like we said, these creators have been making this content forever. Like I think Let's Plays have existed since YouTube existed, more or less, right? As the technology got better and better, and so you know, it's what happened, right? And it is legitimacy. It's reporting on this in the media. It's people telling their friends. It's celebrities like PewDiePie coming into celebrity, like being bigger than just on the Let's Play level,
right?
You know, and then garnering more and more focus from new people into this medium.
Yeah, and so I think, you know, to follow up that is really, it is that the personality of the people making the content rather than just the content of the content, but really, you know, it's not just the cool gaming footage, it's not just the new Call of Duties coming out, it's the person commenting, putting their stamp on that gaming video content.
Right.
It's a huge part of why this has come into legitimacy, and it is, like you mentioned, you know, PewDiePie rising to the top of the entire YouTube population as the largest channel.
Sure.
Who happens to be a gaming video channel.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And to illustrate just the insanity of what's happened over the last 6 months, you know, when we were first starting GameWisp as like a gaming video kind of thing, we were trying to support Let's Players. This was like in March or April. You know, we would talk to individuals about what we were doing, and we always got, oh, so people are watching this like to learn how to beat the game, or like to get strategies and tips. Nah, man, they're watching it for the people, for the content, for the interaction they can have with that person. Like, it is purely, well, not purely, but very much celebrity driven.
Yeah.
And your definition of celebrity may vary depending on who you watch and why. But it's funny, that was how we talked to people in March, April, and May.
Yeah.
By November, December, we didn't have to have that conversation anymore.
Right.
Like, it is just known amongst a large subset of people.
Right, and not just the game or even, you know, entertainment medium people, because you see PewDiePie in Forbes, in the New York Times,
in South Park.
Yeah, in South Park, you know, and that's and you see other creators, you see Nadeshot and Olga K and all these people getting this, you know, I mean, the New York Times, you know, the Wall Street Journal
coverage,
did an article, and so what happens is you start getting people that would never even frequent YouTube know who this person is, because they see them and, you know, they got the Wall Street Journal in their driveway, and so who's this person? So I think that's an incredible step for the gaming celebrities themselves, and not only are there the big name people like PewDiePie, but it spans the gamut of people that are running thriving channels with hundreds of thousands of
making
people
a living
doing it. That's even a possibility that could happen is an incredible piece of this, you know. And I think the other big piece that's driving the legitimacy argument, or the movement of legitimacy, is this thing that these new media personalities and new media companies are being acquired.
Oh yeah, man.
By old media, really.
If we could sum up 2014 from a business perspective in gaming video, it was the year of the acquisition.
Yeah.
Like, that was 2014. And it makes sense, right? You have a medium, okay, it grows to this explosive size, and it's just, you know, still water's running deep, right? Like, there's just so much there. And suddenly it's like, oh, wait, whoa, what's going on here? You know, it's like, this is, you know, just right under our noses, this grew, not just gaming video, but online video in general. This grew into an enormously profitable industry, an enormously large industry.
Yeah.
You know, and so suddenly everybody needs to stake a claim, right? They got to plant their flag somewhere. And so hence the year of the acquisition, right? If major theme is leveling up, sub theme is the year of the acquisition.
Exactly right.
And so, you know, we saw some really big ones, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Disney acquiring Maker.
Yeah.
And this was sort of
huge.
This was the head turner, right? This was the eyebrow raiser in the early part of the year, for sure.
And, you know, when I think about it, I think of the fact that a company like Disney, who has no specific, like, they're not, I mean, they're one of the definitions of old media. I mean, they've been around
brick and mortar media.
Yeah, exactly. They're not, you know, they didn't spawn from an online presence like Twitch did, or like, you know, Amazon.com or something like that. And so you see them like looking into this medium and going, wow, there's something really interesting going on here. And what was unique to me about it was not that they that they went after a company that is 100% about managing talent. You know, their Maker, and Maker has a big piece of them that also does, you know, they provide their talent with software, they provide their talent with brand opportunities, stuff like that. But you know, Disney they didn't go grab a technology platform. They went and grabbed a
content platform.
Content or a platform of content creators.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they went after the talent, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and I think it's a smart play
Yeah.
when you're looking in on an industry you don't understand and you want to make inroads. You know, you kind of have two options, right? I make the inroads myself, I take the time and the risk, or
Yeah.
I look at an established foothold in the industry maker,
Yeah.
or in the case of other acquisitions, you know, like Rooster Teeth and Nerdist, etc. But, you know, you look at these platforms and you say, or these companies say, I'm just going to buy that. And I'm going to let them do what they do because that's going to make me money.
Right. And Disney has a history of that, right? You know, they've acquired Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Maker, and others, and they don't come in and put their, you know, there's other companies that acquire people and then just envelop them and destroy them. The personality, the thing that made them great. But Disney seems to have, at least in this phase of their life, the ability to bring in companies and then empower them to do what they're great at, you know? And I think that bodes well for the content creators, as not only if Disney's successful with it, other companies that are looking to acquire, you know, other MCNs or other groups of content creators and push them forward and allow them to sort of take what they're awesome at and make it even better because they have the resources to do it. That only bodes well, I think, for the industry. Yeah, I'm really glad that sort of the cadence could be set by a company like Disney, who's going to take a very laissez-faire approach to these content creators. You know, we're not going to, at least as of yet, we haven't seen it yet. We're not going to stifle them. You know, we're not going to come in and exert a lot of creative control. Like, we know what you do works. Just keep doing it. Here's money to do it even more. Like, that sets a really good tone for future acquisitions. And, for sure.
You know, and so then you saw other acquisitions like Legendary, which acquired Nerdist and Geek and Sundry. Yeah. You know, big deal in video in general, in the sort of geek-scape. Can I use that word? The geekscape?
I think so, too.
You know, of acquiring these companies.
Go ahead. You know, I'll just say that I think that continues the theme, right? The theme of, and you look at the Nerdist before Legendary acquires them to after, and nothing has specifically changed about the target market, about what they're doing, who the personalities are, other than, you know, they've been able to try new things or have more resources to do more production or better production, that sort of thing. So I think that's great, you know, so continue that theme, everybody.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, Fullscreen did it when they made the most shocking acquisition, in my mind, the most shocking acquisition in gaming video this year, which was buying Rooster Teeth. Yeah. I just thought those guys would be indie forever. Yeah. Like, they would just always do their own thing. And I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of trepidation with that purchase. I was like, whoa, guys, like, you know, you may not know it, but you're like the bastion of indie in this space. You know, it's like, God, who's a longtime indie band, right? Just suddenly signing a contract. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like Radiohead or
something. It's like, what are you doing? But, you know, as of yet, it's totally worked out, right? Because Fullscreen, once again, followed that model that had been set previously. We're going to buy you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. We don't want to bother that because it's working really well. Right. And hopefully that just keeps on marching into 2015.
Yeah, because you look at somebody like Rooster Teeth, who's driven by personalities, right? You know, even in their, like, sub-groups, whether it's Achievement Hunter, or the people that make, you know, the shorts, the live action shorts, or the guys that are making, and girls as well, that are making Ruby, or they're making Red vs. Blue, whatever it is, the characters that they build and the personalities extend past just the voice of Church and Caboose, but into, like, you move into the shorts and you have these, like, exaggerated personalities of Bernie and Joel and Gus and Matt, and then you know who they are. And so I think Fullscreen knows that they're not just buying Red vs. Blue, the IP to that. Yeah. They're buying the opportunity to empower these awesome creative forces like Bernie and Matt.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for
forth.
Sure. Yeah, and so that's all just a preamble to the largest acquisition of the year. Not the most shocking for me, but definitely the largest. Yeah. And that was the Amazon acquisition of Twitch, which if you didn't believe that gaming video was legitimate, you know, when this happened, you're just never going to believe it. Because this is probably, I think we're probably going to have one of the biggest things to happen in gaming video, you know, period. Yeah. This was a big deal.
Totally. And it was such a interesting thing to watch the saga, because we're interested in that. We're in a startup. We're interested in, like, other players in gaming video. Obviously, all these things together, we're, like, watching, you know, because Google, it was like, and everybody was talking about it on the internet. Yeah. It's like, Google is acquiring Twitch. And, you know, it never was officially announced, but it was just, everybody knew that was what was happening.
There was collective rage.
Right. And it made sense, right? Because in your mind, you're like, okay, Google is interested in YouTube and there's Let's Play, and now they want to grab the live part of that and make this really big gaming video ecosystem. And so I think it actually was good for the industry that someone that wasn't Google bought Twitch.
It was fantastic. Yeah, I was super nervous about that acquisition because it was like, YouTube was essentially just going to like square the circle there, right? Like they were just going to complete, like, here's our piece. Oh, you want static video delivered whenever? Hey, you got it. You want Twitch, live streaming? You got it. And hey, we'll back up all those Twitch streams forever and ever because we're YouTube and we know video. Like, but that's great from a technology perspective, but you look at the downside. YouTube hasn't been super friendly to its creators in the past. Things have happened there, and it's like, oh man, that's just one more piece of technology that then I have to like answer to YouTube for. For better or worse. Right. And so it was really great to see like a dark horse, like another player. It's like, what is this? And that was personally, that was really exciting to see somebody else come into the space and say, we're going to try to do something here. Yeah. Even if that's just to keep it out of the hands of Google. Like we're going to try to do something here.
And Amazon came out of left field because they don't have a history really of acquiring user-generated content platforms or services. Maybe they have in the past, but you look at things that what they do in their core services, which, there's Amazon Prime, obviously you buy stuff, but like books and music and digital video downloads or even digital video streaming, all of that is, created through publishers and distributors and all that, licenses and all this kind of stuff, versus Twitch, which is all about the content creator, about the person making the content, and it's user generated coming in. So, to me, that was really interesting, and it, I think, shocked people outside of the industry so much that it made, again, gaming video seem more legitimate because it wasn't just about, another video company's buying a video.
Because I mean, a YouTube purchase kind of would have looked like, YouTube just hedging their bets, right? That makes sense. They're grabbing it, it fits. Like, we'll all just keep on going. But Amazon signaled that, hey, well, this is a big deal. Like, this video thing, gaming video is a big deal. And so that was really great to see for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of all these changes in gaming video, especially the acquisitions and the people like. The media, the outside world, non-gamers, like understanding that gaming video is a thing. Like what. There's a lot of good things we've talked about, but what do you specifically think is maybe not downsides, but things that could be challenges because of old media getting into the new media space?
It's a tough spot, right? Like you definitely have this sort of outgrowth of necessary maybe controversy happening. You have an old world view like. For example, we'll talk about a controversy like Activision, who did content claims against various YouTube videos showing Call of Duty glitches, right? And so let's compare that to old media. So in old media, even if I had written about Call of Duty, say I write for the New York Times and I play Call of Duty, I'm like, dude, there's glitches up the wazoo for this game. These are the glitches. This is what they're like. Type, send it away. Totally true, factual reporting. And what could Activision do to me as a journalist for the New York Times? Jack. Nothing, right? Because I can prove it. This is factual reporting. This is true reporting. This is journalism. And I think the fact that they stepped in to say, oh, hey, look, these videos are kind of bad for our PR, or we don't like the way they depict us. Let's just take them away, right? And that's a huge new media problem, right? And I think in one way that's one way where old media can dictate how new media should behave. Like we can say, this is reporting. This is factual. These are things that are happening. Like at the worst case, it's satire. At the best case, it's quality journalism, and we should keep it. And so I'm hoping that as we move forward, controversies like that will shed light on how important it is to treat aspects of gaming video or just online video in general, to treat aspects of that of like, hey, this is legitimate, this is reporting, this is journalism. We can't just go wholesale, let people take it away.
Right, because, I mean, you think about if that was a reality in the real world, that everybody had the New York Times around the country, that Activision just decided that article that somebody wrote was, their property or talked about their property, and they could just snap their fingers and it was gone from everyone's newspaper. Like their physical newspaper, it disappeared.
People would be outraged. There would be outrage.
And the fact that they have the mechanism to do that is one of those challenges that comes with using a digital platform. You even look at like what was supposed to be a positive thing is outside of gaming video, but U2 deciding they're going to publish their album and it appeared on everyone's phone all of a sudden. And like they thought that was going to be awesome and everyone was going to love it. And everyone was like, why is this on my phone? And just the power we have of distributing content digitally not only means we can get it to people more easily and people can create content more effectively and bypass middlemen to get it to their audience, but it also means that there's mechanisms for it to go away because some outside party decides that it needs to go away.
Yeah, and that's really dangerous.
Yeah.
And there's no good way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Companies have IP to protect, right? And it's a fine line. Like,
Yeah.
what is copyright infringement versus what is journalistic reporting versus what is satire? You know, and so like you have to tread carefully. And I'm hoping that throughout the course of this year we see more treading carefully, and that when things like this happen, these huge PR snafus for these game publishers in particular, like people look at this and go, whoa, we got to get some rules here, and they have to be friendly to the people that are distributing and creating the content.
Yeah,
that's what you really want to see.
And then I think
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think another part of that is the relationship with the audience. The relationship with everybody in the ecosystem is still maturing as well. Like, I think that causes controversy because, as I said, the relationship between the creator and the audience, the relationship between the creator and the game company, and then the relationship between the creator and brands that might be now in the mix because of advertising or sponsorship, stuff like that. And there's a big controversy around that this year between Microsoft paying machinima partners to play games on the Xbox One. I know this is really interesting.
It's tricky, right? Because you have people screaming about, this is a lack of integrity. This is not journalistic integrity if it's journalism, or this is just you're being a shill, for somebody paying you to do this. And maybe it's like, hey man, this is entertainment. Like this isn't journalistic reporting. And it's because the line is so blurry. It's like if you're playing a game, I think you're inherently reporting on it in some way, even if it's just showing the gameplay.
Yeah.
Does that make it journalism? I have no idea. But either way, there are issues of integrity there. You're a creator, you're creating something that people are passionate about, and they're expecting a certain degree of honesty. And I think that's because, with kind of new media, with YouTube, it's easier to be so much closer to the content creator, right? Like, I can comment, I can tweet at you, I can go to your live stream and get answers from you in real time. It's like, we're not miles apart. We're this far apart now, and you're lying to me. Yeah. And so I think it's a much bigger deal when you look at how this thing is happening online.
For sure. And it's because too the content is consumed in a one-to-one mechanism a lot of times. I mean, Twitch is a little different, but like you relate directly to this person who's talking to you. Yeah. Like, you should play this. You should think about this. It's easy to make that immediate connection, and then, like you said, talk to them directly on social media. Meet them at PAX. Meet them at a Major League Gaming event, whatever. And because of that, you don't have that distance between, like, say, a traditional celebrity or even a company who you might meet somebody who works at, I don't know, Nabisco or something, but you're not you don't have a relationship with that particular the creator of the Oreo or something, which was part of a controversy this year. And internationally, they made content creators disclose that they were being paid by Oreo upfront in their video because it's a part of like integrity of saying that you're advertising for Oreos while you're eating on your stream. And so that the fact that the government's getting involved with streaming or with Let's Plays is also, I feel like, weird, but also that whole legitimacy thing, right?
I think you'll see more of that too, right? Like, I think that amongst other things will get locked down, right? There is a massive advertising opportunity here. Obviously, companies are leveraging it as much as they can to promote games, promote platforms, promote products. And so you're just going to see more and more of that, obviously. And so with more of that, you're going to see regulation rules.
Right.
It's that simple. And if everybody has to disclose, I'm using a Razer mouse because Razer bought it for me, well, boo-hoo, right? Like, great, thanks for telling me. I think that controversy will come to some kind of, hopefully, beneficial end.
I think so. And between that relationship, all of those players will find a place that makes sense for everybody.
I mean, it's tough, right? Like, it's weird because here you have, I won't call them mandates, but this sort of control being exerted by big players. Microsoft says, I'll give you some money if you wear my headset. YouTube says, I'll give you some money if you get some ad revenue. And then even MCNs, I'll take some of your money, but I'll help do stuff. I don't know what they do. But like, so it's this idea of you have positions of power, and the positions of power aren't the content creators, right? And we saw examples of that causing big problems in the early part of the year with the YouTube managed versus affiliated fiasco, for lack of a better term. Where YouTube's getting these copyright claims,
Yeah.
and they don't want to deal with that, right? And so, what do you do if you're YouTube? You pass the buck, maybe, because it's hard. It's hard to technology your way out of that problem,
right?
Because the video content and how you're infringing is so subtle, it's so different, it's so varied, it's so gray that you can't just flip a switch and have it work like a scalpel. Yeah. It's a sledgehammer every time. And so, anyway, you've got these content copyright claims, and YouTube's like, what do we do? Well. Let's tell these networks that now they're responsible for that. And so if they get strikes for copyright claims in network, we're going to let them go. And so what does the MCN do? Well, they don't want to deal with that. They got 8,000 channels, 5,000 channels, 300 channels, whatever. Like, I can't go watch all that and tell you if it's a copyright claim. So I'm just going to shuttle off the ones that don't matter. And then I'm going to pay attention to the important ones, make sure they're not having copyright claims. Which that led to that whole managed versus affiliated transition that everybody was raising a fuss about. And I know I'm going on a rant here, but it gets into this issue of passing the buck, right? And you're taking your workhorse, your creator, the people who are so important to this industry, who without you do not exist, and you're putting all the burden on them. Right. And you're picking favorites. Right. You're shoving others aside, and you're saying you don't matter unless I say you matter. And to me that's a huge red flag.
Well, and the interesting thing to me is that it's not just tiny people that are getting caught in that. There's people that have enough subscribers on YouTube to do this full time that are getting pushed off into the affiliate program as well. So it's not just say people with 100 or less than 100 subscribers. It's people with 100 or 200 or 300 or 400,000 subscribers that are not the managed people anymore.
They're the little guys. Is that crazy?
And I think the interesting thing to me, and a part of being a legitimate medium, is going to be that content creators are going to have more control going forward.
I think they have to. Either it'll be pleasant or it'll be painful, but we're going to get to that spot. I think we have to.
Yeah. And I think part of that is because, as we look towards where does gaming video go from here? And as we look to the future, we see these content creators becoming not just an online personality, which means more than it used to, but even now businesses and brands. And so, you look at how they're trying to take a look at their own destiny as a business, as a creative person, and trying to take back control over their content, how it gets published, where it gets published, when it gets published, how they can make money on it, and not just take the sort of the last tiny piece of the sliver that's left from all these other middlemen that get in their way, but how do I go directly to my audience? How do I make more money? How do I make the right kind of money the right way? I think that's a big question people are asking.
Yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary barriers, I think, and barriers to you being successful as a content creator, as a business. One is ad revenue and how pieces of it are pulled off as you do an MCN or you do YouTube or whatever. And not only that ad revenue in general may be shrinking over time, right? I mean, the pool of people that can be paid is larger and larger, so everybody gets a smaller piece. That's unit economics in a nutshell. But this idea that how I make money goes down. The ways I can make money are restricted by various nebulous copyright claims that everybody is too lazy to nail down or doesn't want to. And so it's how do I make what? How much do I make from it? This is all a mystery until I actually see a paycheck.
Right.
And so all this is just really ambiguous. It's really unclear. And so I think what you're going to see happen in 2015, if I had to make a bold prediction, it's that by the end of 2015, we will have some kind of solution that is content creator to end. To end viewer, and with a minimum of middlemen. That's what needs to happen. I think it's what's going to happen. I don't know who the winner is. I don't know if it's GameWisp, I don't know if it's somebody else. But I think we're going to see that because it has to happen. We have to see the power shift to the creator. And I think creators will realize that as they wake up, whoa, I have value. I'm making this thing. YouTube is supposed to be a tool for me. I'm not a tool for YouTube.
Right.
And I think you'll see that change in perspective. And it'll be a catalyst or a spark. Something will happen, but I think the perspective will change.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think not only will they look to assert more control over their own destiny, but also I think we're gonna see different channels directly to their fans, right? So you're gonna see not just how can I sell you a piece of merchandise, which is what a lot of people do now, which is great, but also how can I take my brand, my celebrity, my sort of fame, you know, even if it's just internet fame, but it's not just internet fame, you know.
Pays the bill.
It's real fame. And that's legitimacy. But they're going to take that and, like, how can I do this in a live format? You know, you look at the Rooster Teeth guys, Achievement Hunter guys, and they do a lot of live events. You know, one of the things they've announced from Rooster Teeth is the Let's Play Live event.
Sure.
They've been doing that for a long time at the RTX, at Rooster Teeth conferences, where they'll get up on the stage, they'll do a live event, where they'll do a Let's Play together. They'll goof around and just be what they are online and their personalities up on stage, and you get thousands and thousands of people crowded around the stage cheering when Jeff does this to Jack, or whoever does what, you know, when they're playing GTA 5. You know, all this kind of stuff that you watch online, and then you get to have a collective experience. You know, people are experimenting with stuff like that. With direct monetization is another thing. With you know, brand partnerships, not just like Brazier sponsoring you, but the content creator actually representing different brands. And so I think for me, I think my big prediction for this year is that we're going to see the expansion from just monetizing through ads to like lots and lots of other channels.
I think you're right, and it's already starting to happen. Like, I mean, look at, gosh, on Twitch, there's stream tips, right? You can take tips directly from, you know, people that watch you in your stream with a third-party application. I mean, there's Patreon. There's this whole patronage model, like, pay me and I'll make a thing. You know, and what I don't want to see, and what I'm worried is going to happen, is we'll see a similar parallel like the music industry, right? Like, a band makes money because it tours. Like, I take my show on the road and I make money. Let's play live. Let's take our show on the road, because then YouTube can't take a cut of people coming to pay for a ticket. And like, that's what I do not want to see here. Like, I do not want to see a system where the artist is crippled by the middleman, right? And in some ways, we're heading down that road with systems that pay portions of ad revenue, et cetera, like YouTube. In other ways, we're fighting against it. Going live. Systems like Patreon, which has its own warts, but is something different. You know, and so I agree with you, and I hope that through exploring these other avenues, something hits, and there's a large signal that there's a better way and there's a different way. That's what I hope to see.
Sounds good. All right, well, that's it for us talking about this year in gaming video. When we come back and our next segment, we're going to talk about what 2014 was like for GameWisp as a company. So
fun story.
Catch you then.